And Julie, we mentioned that the Obamas will be going to Michigan, both of them, next week to campaign for the vice president. The former president just dropped a new video. Let's watch.
Got on one side somebody who really just cares about himself. You know, everything's about him. 2 a.m. tweets and tirades, you know, and Kamala's somebody who, you know, comes from modest beginnings, who had to fight for what she had. And that's the kind of person that I'd want to vote for, because I know if push comes to shove, she's going to be fighting for me. And that's the kind of president that we need.
So that message really focused on Kamala Harris. I wonder, in these final few weeks, less than 3 weeks now, in fact, does the Harris campaign focus more on what she's about, her plans, her vision, or should they be more focused on Donald Trump and what he's about?
Well, she's got to do both. On the one hand, she has to continue to introduce herself to voters who may not be as familiar with her. On the other hand, she needs to scare the base into coming out for her. And what that means is using the best get out the vote method that she can, which is to scare people about Donald Trump. We've been here. We know what it was like for 4 years when he was president. We see that he's becoming increasingly more unhinged. You see the campaign leaning much more into rhetoric that actually underscores his mental condition. And that, if nothing else, motivates people to come out and vote, because people come out and vote for two reasons. One is they vote for somebody, which is why she's continuing to introduce herself. But just as much, they vote against somebody. And Donald Trump is a great motivator for the Democratic base to come out and vote for anybody whose name is not Donald Trump.
As far as strategy, Mark, you wrote that it's Harris's race to lose, and you say one of the big reasons is the campaign's ground games. Is that what matters most at this point, you think?
Yes, I think that this is a race where there really are no undecided voters. This is about the base and about new voters. And the one thing that polling's not, or the few things that polling is not picking up, you just reported on. One is early voting, and those are astronomical numbers, and those almost always favor Democrats. There's also a gender gap that Harris has about a 10-point advantage of, and a new voter registration gap of about 10 points as well. So. And an enthusiasm gap of about 10 points. So when you add up all those things, those are things that polling isn't picking up, because polling uses a mirror looking at past elections like 2020, where nobody was really excited. It should be using a periscope to look ahead. And everything that I see, all my spidey sense and all my experience tells me that Harris has a lot going on under the radar that should be very encouraging for Democrats.
What else is encouraging under the radar?
Well, you have turnout, you have enthusiasm, you have a gender gap, and then you have, I call it HRC PTSD, which is, listen, I think women are going to save democracy for us. I think that at the end of the day, the number of women that are crawling over broken glass to shatter the glass ceiling is just going to be historic. And I think that that's going to be the story of this election, that when you net it all out, yes, it's all about getting your base vote out, but this is an election where, because of, again, HRC, PTSD, and Roe particularly, women are not going to go to sleep on this one. And when we wake up, we're going to see the women have really made the difference in this election, I believe.
I mean, if she has that going for her, Julie, there has been at least one area of vulnerability that's been identified, and that's what's happening in the Middle East. And what we saw there in Michigan during the primaries when Biden was still the candidate, our colleague Yasmin Vossoughian went there to Michigan and sat down with a group of Lebanese Americans. Here's what they had to say.
Who's voting for Kamala Harris here? Absolutely no.
No. Not possible.
There's nothing she can do or say for us to change our mind.
Why are you voting for Donald Trump?
Because my main goal is to get someone who is actively funding a genocide out of office.
So as you saw there, Julie, not one person said they were going to vote for Vice President Harris. One did say she was planning to vote for Donald Trump. Your thoughts on that? And I wonder if the recent developments with Sinwar's death there in the Middle East changes anything here for voters.
Well, I don't know who those voters are, but I will say this. I mean, this is a man, Donald Trump, who wanted to have a Muslim ban. This is somebody who will, if they don't like what's happening now, just wait until Trump gets in and gives Bibi Netanyahu everything that he wants, which is what Netanyahu's counting on, which is why you haven't had a ceasefire yet. But I will also say this. Look, that's an area of vulnerability for her. Potentially Latino voters coming away from the Democratic Party are something to keep an eye on as well. There has been some polling about black men, some of them maybe not coming home as much as they had in the past. I will agree with everything Mark said, but I'll be more specific. Black women are going to save democracy. And you have black women who are really crawling over glass, the way Mark described, to go vote for her. College-educated women in the suburbs, places like the collar counties of Philadelphia, which used to be back and forth with Democrats and Republicans, places like Bucks County, Northampton County, Montgomery County, where people who are college-educated Republican women are saying enough is enough. I mean, you saw Charlie Dent, the very well-respected former congressman from Allentown, Pennsylvania, Northampton County. He's coming out for Kamala Harris yesterday. So you're seeing this kind of momentum shifting. And that's something that I think has to do just as much with her as it does with Donald Trump. But Trump is the motivating force for people who are saying, we've lived it. We know what he can do. If you're a woman, you don't have to imagine. You have 3 Supreme Court justices who've shown you what a Trump presidency can do. God only knows what will happen if he gets in again for 4 more years. And so that's a great way to motivate voters, because it's not like you have to scare them with the abolition of Roe versus Wade, which Democrats have been doing for 20, 30 years or longer before it actually happened. It's happened. It's here. And voters see it, they understand it, and they understand that the stakes are real because we're living in them. This is not some imaginary crisis that can happen. We've lived the crisis already.
Mark, former President Trump was on Fox News just this morning, and I want to play part of what he said about migrants, because it was almost verbatim of what he said in his very first speech as a presidential candidate 3,413 days ago. Watch.
The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. When a country sends people out, they're not saying, hey, let's take our best people and send them to the U.S. They're sending their rapists, they're sending their murderers.
Mark, that last clip was just this morning. I assume most candidates would be careful not to offend key voting groups in the final days of an election. Julie mentioned how, Latino voters were maybe a little bit of a soft spot for the Democrats right now. But here you have Donald Trump sticking to a very divisive and offensive message, a consistent message. What do you make of it?
Well, that's his core message, and as Julie said, you don't have to imagine what a Trump presidency would like. You just have to remember what it was like, and that's his primary motivating factor is fear and fear of others, fear of immigrants coming across the border, and that's the basis of Make America Great Again. It's because we don't want to embrace the future. We want to go back to another time when we didn't have immigrants in our communities. So, yeah, I mean, it worked for him in 2016. But listen, the one thing I've learned in campaigns is that if you're looking in the mirror and running the last campaign, you're running a losing campaign.
Julie, this morning, the DNC just rolled out sort of a new campaign effort appealing to young voters, and it coincides with Taylor Swift concerts that come back to the U.S. in Miami this weekend. It includes billboards in that city, Taylor Swift-themed Snapchat filters available to voters in key battleground states. So it's one thing to engage these voters, but how do you make sure they vote?
Oh, I think young women are motivated to vote. I think young women see what's happening in places like Florida and Texas and Alabama, and they understand that it's their reproductive rights on the ballot.
It's not just young women, though, who are Swifties.
No question about it. I don't mean to distract from any men out there, especially Gen Z men. There certainly are. But I will say that there is a gender gap, certainly with young voters and Gen Z voters. And you have women especially out there who understand what's at stake here. They understand because they're not so far removed from the book bans in schools that people like Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump espouse. They're not so far removed from the anti-LGBTQ rhetoric in schools that state governors and people like Donald Trump espoused. They're certainly not removed from the fact that, God forbid, they get pregnant. They don't want to be pregnant, or if they have a bad pregnancy, they can't do anything about it. They may die. They understand that because that affects them directly. And so for that reason, I don't know that young people need to be motivated as much as they are running in early voting, especially to come out and vote. And you see that from all the numbers.
And we'll be learning more about these early voting numbers as the days go on. Thank you so much, Julie, for joining us. Mark McKinnon, stay with us.